Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would take you on another one of those, like what we're doing with the space tours, except this one's special because it's the garden. I'm so excited. If you don't know, we bought a farm last year. We bought a horse farm and we've kind of dehorsed it, and and this is going to be a hilariously off walk through. Like, I'm gonna try to, I can't give you timelines just because of how much things have changed already. So I'm like very reluctant to give firm timelines on anything. But I wanted to at least give you a bit of an overview of what we want to do, what our current plans are, stuff like that. So let's get started. So if you are standing on my back patio, for example, like Duke is, this is what you see. So we have about 5.5 acres, and oh, there's just a lot to talk about. So let's do this. Okay, so here's what I feel like. It's kind of, I want to give you a tour, but at the same time, there's a difference between like a tour and like what we're doing. So let's focus on what we're doing. All of the native landscaping that you see, I have not touched, and I will not touch. I said this when we bought the house. I'm not touching anything that's already here for at least a year because I don't know what everything is, and I don't want to cut anything, you know, out or prune it poorly and then wind up screwing up the growth of it. I want to give everything a year so I can kind of make some sense out of what things are, replace what I need to replace, etc. You can obviously see, I mean, this is like March, so things are starting to kind of come back a little bit. Like, for example, this tree, we've got some berries, we've got some green, we've got some progress. I've got a couple things that are starting, but for the most part, everything's kind of still, you know, not in prime. But let's talk about the plans. So this right here, if you come down this path, like Duke is. Great job, Vanna. You'll find another path. If you were to keep going, you go to the outdoor kitchen. This was a dressage arena when we bought the home. And then this area right here, you see those, like, kind of through that, you can see those like stone pillars. Those were attached to a horse barn that we took down. We donated it, don't worry. But we had a path put in here with stones from around the property that go, and then we had this fenced in for deer because we have a lot of deer. So I've got I think it's 8,500 square feet, and this is my garden. So I have this is like a lot to talk about. Okay, so I've got 2 4-foot entrances. This is one of them. The other one, I'll show you, will be off the greenhouse. And then I've got a 12-foot one through there. That'll be for like a tractor or whatever, any kind of a vehicle that I need to use. So this is the garden. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I have so much to tell you. Okay, so this 4-foot and that 4-foot entrance, I'm gonna arbor both of them. I want either 4 or 6 feet of arbor, and that way I can have like climbing roses or whatever I want to do, clematis, something that vines, climbs, etc. So I want there to be this bit of a transport into the garden from those entrances. Obviously the long 12-foot one I'm not going to do that with because it's, you know, kind of impossible to find that, but it also kind of opens you up for how the space will be used. So back here, so the fence that we put in, the guy that did it sucks. Like, we hate him. Anyway, so we just paid more than what we should have, especially for how shoddy a job he did. But it's just for deer. You know, it's not ornamental, it's not decorative, and really the whole point of it is to see through it and to see into the garden because there will be so much coming visually. Whether it's, you know, my beds, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, so back here, I'm gonna wind up putting my, at least as of right now, my thoughts are putting the composters in this kind of corner, and then I want something climbing over this fence I'm going to trellis something. A friend of mine recommended Smilox because they're so useful. I don't know. I haven't decided. Maybe. And then I'm going to have long beds put in here. If you can see, I've got the beds I had at the old house. We kind of played around with ankle. He for a minute thought we were going to do 45. Wound up thinking no. So I'm going to have kind of longer beds put in here. Whether they're concrete or stone, TBD, but they're going to be tall. They're going to be about waist high on me, waist or hip high probably. And then this will come out, yeah, if you can see from right here, this will come out quite a bit, the arbor will, and then I'll have beds, you know, so there'll be at least 2 there, that on this side of it. This is really hard to explain when there's nothing to show you. There'll be at least 2 beds there, and then I'm thinking there'll be at least 2 beds here. Compost there. I'd like this middle kind of back part, maybe like a third or 40% up at the center, to be like a mini orchard. So I'm gonna put in plum trees. I might put in, I don't know, I'm gonna put in some fruit trees, and I definitely want plum. I think I might do some fig, and then in this back corner over here we're gonna put the chicken coop, and then we're gonna have like it's not called snake guard, but it's close enough. Basically like some kind of snake guard, and like, you know, rodent proof, animal proof, predator proof, shielding. I don't know. I don't know the terminology for this stuff. I don't know what they're actually called. But we're going to have like the most effective thing we can possibly find, or combination of things we can possibly find. And we're going to rim the whole garden to these entrances so the chickens can free range and eat the buggies that want to eat my plants. Also make me better eggs, you know? And then we're going to have it to where they'll actually go through to free range, but then like where you go to get the eggs is on the inside of the garden. I don't know if that makes sense to you. It makes sense to me. And then back here, so like if the coop is here, right? And then this is, you want enough space where you can pull something in. I'm going to have kind of shallow-ish beds here, just to where this kind of has a clearer path. You know what I mean? You're not like having to pull a hard turn or something. So I kind of want shallow beds, maybe do flowers. I was also thinking about just putting asparagus, things that need to establish, you know, I was kind of thinking that here, and then also right in here. I like the idea of having these being something, I don't know, I'm so full of ideas, it's hard to like articulate some of this, but I want things to either be very seasonally rotating, where there's always something blooming, or very established. And my head's kind of leaning that being established, and this being like always something blooming, just because of where you are and what you see. And then we'll have beds here as well. So this is going to be a very busy but well laid out garden, and I'm really excited about it. So that's what's this. So we have ripped out, this whole thing was a dressage arena. We had all of the what do they call it, railroad ties ripped out because they were dying, and we had like, you know, it's just been one thing after another. So we had that all ripped out. We had these put in. We're gonna wind up, it also kind of freezes up for the chickens too. I kind of kick around this back pasture here. So Jeremy's building is going to go here. My greenhouse is going to go, I'll show you, where the horse barn was. And then it will abut to my office. So let's show you that. And then we're going to put sort of like a wheelchair ramp of sorts. Because we're going to get like, I think he said it's a Polaris. We talk about so many different things. It's hard to keep some of this stuff straight. But I want, oh, there's a Coke bottle there. I want a path that leads you from here to here. So these are going to wind up going. We weren't quite sure, so we kept them for the time being, but they're going to wind up going. So there is a path from that bridge over to here, and then you step up. This was a horse barn. So when we bought the place, this was the barn. this whole thing was a barn, and then you had your bays for the horses. We need to figure out, and I guarantee you we won't be able to keep it, but we need to figure out like how to either cut this up or whatever. We've got to hire people to do this, obviously. I'm gonna have a greenhouse here with a door that looks straight out. So when you stare at the garden from this way, you can really see, at least I can, what it could be, you know, because it's just gonna be awesome. And then greenhouse here is going to be larger. It's going to have I want like a bit of a trough sink. I want something where you can, I want something where I can seed start. I want something where I can have my cut flowers. Like if I, you know, harvest flowers, I come and that's where I put them while I'm cutting them or arranging them or whatever I'm doing. I want a big enough sink for that. I also want, if you can, it's hard to give you like a measurement because of how different this is gonna look, but I also want to have like half of it is going to be for like proper like seeds and like all the garden farming stuff, and then the other half's gonna be kind of for entertaining. So it's not gonna be like a split down the middle. I think it's gonna be kind of a split widthwise. I don't know, we'll see. But I want there to be an entertaining space where you can come and gather. We can have like garden parties. I also want there to be like a low bed where I can trellis and maybe manipulate. We're gonna do like radiant heat flooring, and then do, I can lay down heat mats and I can grow like tomatoes, herbs, things like that. Like when it's winter time, like I can really manipulate. I will talk about greenhouses just for the sake of time, probably in a different video, but like, because it's involved, and then it will abut to my office. So if you're walking, like right now, you'd be walking through the greenhouse, and then you would open a door like right around here, and I'll have my office set up to where it kind of almost in quadrant situation, like not clear like squares, but like 4 things. I want a chill kind of lounge creative space. I want my desk full setup for, you know, everything I need for that. I want a camera set up, like proper lights rigged up so I don't have to constantly troubleshoot. And then I want my gym. So like the Peloton will come out of the bedroom, all my stuff, so I can just literally come and like chill out and like kind of be here. We had plumbing we had a bathroom in this when we bought it. So we have the opportunity to either put a bathroom here or we can put it in his office, his building. I don't really care so long as we keep it, because I want to have the option to do that. I also love the idea of like bringing out clothes and like actually like taking this more seriously. So like work out, get ready, all that kind of stuff. To me, that makes total sense. And also is such a good idea for like controlling environment. So like hearing things or whatever's going on in the background, you're not gonna have any of that. So it's like awesome. Okay, so the other thing to note is when we're gonna widen our driveway. We're gonna, like, this is all gonna be concreted down, and then we're gonna dye it. Look at Duke. We're gonna dye it to there's so much stuff going on. I don't want to divert too much though. Okay, so if you're standing here, right, and you look at this, the office and the greenhouse will not go all the way out. We're gonna wind up having like almost like a thoroughfare kind of way, like a walkway around everything. So I love that because it'll look a little bit more polished, and it'll also be way more useful. So if you're, you know, bringing in plants or whatever, you could walk alongside of the office. You don't have to walk through it to bring stuff to the greenhouse. And I'll have an entry this way, you know, facing the house, and I'll have a door facing the garden itself, which I'm so excited about. Jeremy I was initially thinking when we first got the place, and my brain was just kind of going nuts. That's rainwater, we're going to expand on it. I was initially thinking of making this part of the greenhouse and seed starting, like transplant area, like lug everything out, let them get sun, bring them back in. He's kindly asked me to not do that because he wants to put a pool here. So the only thing I've asked is because of its proximity to everything, and I'm an organic gardener, we need one of those like natural don't know what they call it, where it's like, you know, I don't know anything about this kind of stuff, and we're not doing it this year. But that's why I'm not using this space, in case you were curious, like, you know what I mean? Because it's kind of a deal for what I wanted it for, but pick your battles, right? I have a bridge here, and I have another like walkway entry thing. Those were actually ideas I had when we were gonna build. I wanted some kind of like cool like tunnel kind of thing, and I kind of got them. So I have no idea what's growing on it, but I want to, again, give it a year. But I want to show you the outdoor kitchen, and I want to show you some plans. So the backyard, we're gonna wind up putting string lights, like twinkle lights kind of throughout, and then we want this to be a lot more like, we want this to kind of encourage entertainment. So if we have like garden parties or whatever, people can navigate it pretty easily. And you go over the bridge, through the woods, and you can kind of see, you can see over there, we've got these little like seating nooks. You know, I've got a couple over there, I've got some here, I've got these planters. So I've got about 7 planters around the house that came with the house that I'm gonna do here in a couple of weeks. And then here, I've got that other little tunnel. So there's a lot of potential for what I could do for this. There's a lot of like it's kind of magical, you know? There's a ton I could do. And then this is the outdoor kitchen, which is a little small. I mean, it's great that it's here, but it's a little small for the amount of people. So there's definitely things that we need to do. It is not happening this year. There's too much stuff going on, and there's way too many delays. But like this grill's way too small. The prep sink is fine, but there's no prep space. There's no like prep, you know, area. We kicked around when we first bought the place, maybe putting a pizza oven in. We're not doing that because we have used this fireplace so many times. And if we did a pizza oven, we just like kind of stick it somewhere. But we have gone ahead and put Sonos, and we've run conduits. We have internet, and we have like Wi-Fi, we have Sonos, all that kind of stuff out here. And then he spray painted it to match the wood, so you can't see it. You can kind of see it there. But yeah, so that's pretty awesome. And then from here, you can see how the fence, like I'm so annoyed with this guy, but like whatever, it's over with. You can see how the fence, when there's nothing in it, you can just see the kind of framework of it. But when there's stuff in it, the whole point of doing it this way was deer proofing, and I didn't want the fence to be what you saw. I wanted what was inside. So I think when there's actually stuff in there, you're immediately gonna see through, which is exciting, at least for me. So that's kind of that back pasture. I'll be honest with you, we kick around so many different ideas for what to do with that. I would love to have alpacas. I'd love to have peacocks, but I don't think I can because you know, while we have land, we also have neighbors, and they are allowed. I'd love to have alpacas though. I just don't think it'll happen anytime soon. I'm also very, very mindful of like, animals sound great, but that's a heartbeat that you brought on, right? And that's I don't grow any kind of an animal for harvesting. I grow them because I want eggs, but I don't want meat chickens. You know what I mean? So it's not like, I don't have the heart for that. I don't eat meat, so like don't come at me. But I don't have the heart for that. So anyway, I patron a local farmer for my dairy and my meat for my family. I can't do that though. So for the back pasture, we're kind of noodling on hoop houses and do cut flowers like later, like do them like in mass. I could put the perfect alpaca pasture, I think. I mean, I mean, hell, you do both really. You just have to fence it. And then the other thing I'm really mindful of is with any kind of animal, you bring fencing in, and we took out all the interior fencing because this whole thing was like split up in a bunch of different ways. We ripped it all out so you can actually see the land. So I am mindful of if I put alpacas on the land, I need an acre for a few of them. You know, I think it's 6 to an acre is what they quote you. I don't think I would get 6. I'd probably get like 3 or 4. And then the other back half is his, because he's going to wind up putting his workshop, his garage, his office, like everything's going to be in this big steel building. Oh, other thing we're doing, steel buildings, rainwater collection. So we're going to have my office is going to be a steel building as well. So they're going to be prepped for rainwater, so we can have the whole garden run off of rainwater, and we're going to have irrigation built in from the ground up. So because we get to start from, it's one of the nice things about starting from scratch, is you get to build it how you want it. I want much bigger beds. That's the thing I definitely noticed, is I want a lot bigger beds. I need a lot more depth. So we're gonna go high, and we're not filling, it's not gonna be like, you know, concrete to a certain amount. It's gonna be just soil, because I want to grow more root vegetables. I want to grow things. There's a ton of stuff I want to do. And then in terms of the greenhouse, I can seed start, I can do all the stuff I want to do there, but it also will be big enough that I can have a table in there and I can entertain, and you don't feel crammed next to whatever, you know, like tools and boxes of, you know, baby plants and stuff like that. So anyway, and then here I have this vision for what this could be. We're gonna have twinkle lights, but I see this, I don't know when it'll happen, but I just see this being really magical and kind of like the closest thing to an English garden I think I could pull off in Texas, because you know, Texas. But yeah, so there's a lot to go off of. There's a lot of stuff to do. The front of the house, I'm not going to show you, safety, but also we're redoing like a ton of the driveway. We're changing out the whole gate, the fence, all that kind of stuff. I don't know when that's going to happen. We are kind of constantly battling, like, here's everything we want to do. And with all the delays and everything right now, or the crazy price, you know, hikes and stuff, what makes the most sense to do when? And that's a very fluid priority list, you know, like this happens and then it goes down. So the greenhouse, they're quoting me 6 months as of right now, soup to nuts. So that's great. It's also local, which is wonderful. I'll explain why I'm not going with Hartley Botanic in a different video. But I'm really excited about that. I think that's a big deal, but I also, the thing I was saying to Jeremy was I don't want to do that and then kick myself later because, you know what, we needed that pathway to get in for whatever. So I think steel buildings and I think beds will be the priority, and then I think the greenhouse, because I want something that the greenhouse can abut to, so I think it makes sense to put the office in first and then have the greenhouse go in second. But I also think it also makes sense to put the beds in before any of that, because it's, you know, the furthest away from the driveway. You know what I mean? So if they need access, they'll just have free access and they don't have to navigate the buildings. All of this is up in the air, so who knows? But lots of landscaping to do. I've got some ideas for who to use, but I definitely want some help with the native landscaping because we do have so much wildlife. We do live on water. So it's really important that whatever I plant isn't, you know, precious, because that stuff goes in the garden. But yeah, so that's a really kind of messy hodgepodge way of looking at this. But, you know, we're getting there bit by bit. Right, Mama Bear? Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you'll enjoy the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.